A large area of disturbed weather will continue to bring impacts both on Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here at Meteo Mundo. We're your home for Caribbean weather. Fantastic to see you on a Monday. We're getting close to Christmas indeed. And coming up in this video, we have some unsettled weather, just a big swath of showers and storms and some really gusty winds. We'll talk about how this is going to evolve as we get closer to Christmas Day with the rain and the storms and the breezy conditions. Speaking of Christmas, this is the last video that I'm going to be doing before Christmas Day itself. So I really want to say a very heartfelt Merry Christmas, Feliz Navidad, Buona Natale, Joyeux Noel, however you pronounce it, however you celebrate it. Myself and the team here at Meteo Mundo wish you a safe and joyous holiday season. Let's get into the video. You know I love to hear from you guys. Let me know in the comment section below where you're viewing from, what the weather has been like. If you would like to drop in the comments, maybe how you celebrate locally the holiday season, be it Christmas or some other holiday. Would love to hear that. I know there's a lot of fantastic food that is eaten this time of the year, and I'd love to get a taste of that local cuisine, so let me know in the comments below. Let's get started. For some, it is going to be a cloudy, it's going to be a wet and stormy Christmas Eve and portions of Christmas Day. And I'm talking about the heart of the Caribbean right now. You can clearly see this wide swath of moisture. There's divergence or lift in the atmosphere, and there's rich tropical moisture. And this is bringing showers and storms to a large area of the Caribbean and sneaking into portions of the Western Atlantic. This is what it looks like on the surface analysis. We have a cold front, which typical this time of the year is able to work its way farther east through the Atlantic. It has stalled out and become stationary over the Antilles and back into the Southwest Caribbean, and that is promoting the lift in the atmosphere. And then these areas of low pressure right over portions of Central America, especially Costa Rica and Panama, is providing the moisture to stream north. And the combination of the two is what's bringing this widespread cloudy, wet, stormy, and very breezy conditions. So on this Monday afternoon, this is what it looks like. The moisture is getting as far north right now as the southeast Bahamas and portions of the Turks and Caicos, where again, these are wind gusts in miles an hour. So we've had a 30-mile-an-hour wind gust there in the Caicos already this afternoon. These will be really fast-moving showers for places like the Acklins and Mayaguana, back down towards the Turks and Caicos. You get farther north, you are into some drier air. So the central and the northern sides of the Bahamas, you can clearly see on the water vapor imagery, dry for today, but a lot of wind. The near gale warnings continue for the Bahamas, especially on the exposed waters of the Atlantic there. Long period swells will continue. It's been another very wet day across Hispaniola, right? On over from Haiti, the Windward Passage, Cuba, back over to the Dominican Republic. Showers and storms continue to proliferate. Moisture is moving in from the southwest. It's catching up to that stationary boundary. And again, we're just getting widespread showers and storms. So we're going to have some excessive rainfall in portions of the Dominican Republic. That means we're going to have a little bit of flooding. Look, I don't expect it to be very widespread, but isolated in nature, where we could have easily 2 to 4 inches of rain in some spots just today. That's 50 to 100 millimeters. Notice again, there's a lot of lightning, relatively speaking, here for late December. So there's instability as well. So it's not just some light rain. I mean, this is some good downpours with the tropical moisture and some lightning from Santo Domingo to La Romana and the Punta Cana and the Samana Peninsula. Speaking of areas near Punta Cana, I've got some fantastic photos to show you. This is from the Los Corrales area of the Dominican Republic there near Punta Cana. Look at this. This is from last night. The purple hue to the sky and that lightning strike. Jules Clifford sends this in, and you can tell this is professional photography. What a fantastic shot. That's one. Here's another one now, more cloud-to-cloud lightning. But again, that purple hue in the sky is just absolutely amazing, and I appreciate Jules sending in those photos to help tell the story there in the Los Corrales area. If you want to send me a picture or video, all you got to do, send it to mymetiomundo@gmail.com. Just include your name, obviously where it's from. You want to give me a little description, a little taste of what you're seeing. I appreciate that as well. So you get the idea. Again, wet and stormy pattern here. We follow the moisture back south and west, and some of this is streaming back into portions of Jamaica. Now, it's still been pretty pretty dry on this Monday in Jamaica, but more moisture is going to try to move in, and that will spell a better chance for some rain across this area on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Not going to be a washout by any means. Still dry enough there where we're dry in the Cayman Islands at this point in time, but generally speaking, all of this moisture that's bubbling up here in the Southwest Caribbean is going to feed to the north into the Northwest. So Central America and the Caymans and Jamaica and Quintana Roo are going to get wetter a little bit deeper into the week. You can see the abundant amount of moisture. You live in Panama, you live in Costa Rica, you let me know what's going on in these areas. This is an area I'm concerned about for excessive rainfall because nothing is moving very quickly at the hour, and there's more moisture to lift from the eastern Pacific up over Central America and into portions of the Southwest Caribbean. We follow this moisture train back to the north and to the east, where we've had at least a few showers pop up and some rough surf and sea conditions across portions of Puerto Rico and the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Now, for the most part, this has mainly been just a lot of wind kicking up the sea conditions. Rip current risk is up, high surf advisories, high sea advisories. You get the idea. But from time to time, we've had a little bit of rain. This is what it looks like right now. The live radar out of Puerto Rico. Again, the rain is more concentrated farther west, but for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands itself, yes, we're getting a few scattered showers at the hour, a couple towards Uti Alto and the Yauco areas. A little bit of rain, a little bit more concentrated right over Culebra at the hour right now. So some heavier downpours there near Vieques. Portions of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, as I've mentioned, we've had some rain right now over St. Thomas and St. John, a little towards the western sides of Tortola, Jost Van Dyke, Anegada. Again, a passing shower. Same thing for the St. Croix area right now. Nothing is going to be very heavy. Nothing is going to be extremely widespread overall. It's just going to be really fast-moving showers. Again, the amount of rain is going to be somewhat limited by how fast this is all going to be moving. Speaking of that, I'm just going to switch over real quick to the visible satellite imagery, just to give you guys a clear indication here that, you know, another thing that I'm looking at is you're going to see clouds moving in different directions at different levels of the atmosphere. This is a really good sign that there's a lot of convergence and then lift in the atmosphere as well, right? So we have streaking kind of easterly winds at the surface, and then we have a little bit more of a southwest wind at the mid levels of the atmosphere, and the combination of the two is leading to the rain that we're seeing at the hour. Get back over to the visible, or excuse me, the infrared satellite imagery. It will continue looking at what's happening through the Lesser Antilles for today, where some scattered rain has moved in. It hasn't been much, but you can catch some of that moisture drifting through Anguilla and St. Bart's and St. Martin, a little bit more concentrated from Barbuda to Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua, trying to get some rain over the Montserrat, Guadalupe areas as we speak. You can see some of the wind gusts there just off towards the west, one of those buoys in the Eastern Caribbean. Scattered moisture is also going to be apparent through the rest of the Lesser Antilles from Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, the Grenada areas. Again, not a huge concentration. Still could be some isolated downpours. You live in these areas, you've caught some of that rain, let me know. Generally speaking, though, if nothing else, a little bit of cloud coverage at the hour. Nueva Esparta will try and get into a couple of showers. And my friends in Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao and the ABC Islands will again get some clouds and the opportunity for even a few storms to try to develop there as storms come off of the mainland. But generally speaking, the farther north that you go, and especially northwest, the drier the air is. So you're looking at some beautiful conditions today through most of the Bahamas, Walker's Key, Freeport, Lucaya, back over to Nassau. Let's get into the forecast, friends. And again, thank you so much for taking a quick second and liking this video, subscribing to Meteo Mundo if you haven't done so as of yet. Appreciate you guys finding ways to support the channel. All the ways are available, including our memberships, the super thanks, and other ways in the description of this video below. So now we're going to get into the local forecast, take it island by island over the next few days, talk about what's going to be happening over Christmas Eve and Christmas Day itself. First thing I'll do, we'll go over to the radar, but I'm actually going to switch this over to the wind vectors, and we're going to take a look at how this wind is going to be evolving, and then how that's going to play into how the moisture is going to be moving. Because again, you saw on our surface analysis, we actually have developing area of low pressure here in the far southwest Caribbean. Now look, this time of the year, that doesn't ultimately mean that we're going to get a tropical system to develop, but it is a sign of how unstable the air is and how much lift and tropical moisture still exists in this part of the Caribbean, and how it's feeding and spreading to the north to provide relatively widespread unsettled weather. And that's what we're just going to continue to see. And my ring camera just went off because I forgot to mute my phone, but that happens. Let's hope that doesn't happen more than once. Anyway, easterly winds will continue here through the majority of the area. Now they'll get a little bit of a kink as you get into the Western Caribbean. Now, again, pink on this map is 25-mile-an-hour winds. So purple 20, pink 25. Now you're getting to some very breezy conditions, which is why the gale warnings will continue, or the Neil gale warnings for the Bahamas. And then you see just this little subtle shift in the winds coming through the Western Caribbean right there. This is the surface reflection of a more broad mid-level rotation that's going to get ejected out of the Southwest Caribbean, but pull a lot of moisture and some wind to go along with it. So just generally speaking, more unsettled weather will continue for the central and the western sides of the Caribbean. So let's break this down looking at the reflectivity. There you can clearly see it from the GFS model. And again, this is all kind of streaming up towards the north. So let me stop this and bring this back to right now, right? The rain continues for Hispaniola, Turks and Caicos, Southeast Bahamas, beginning to see some of that moisture lift up towards the north. And as we go through the remainder of our Tuesday, our Christmas Eve, you can start to see the impacts of this moisture lifting into that area of divergence, of lift in the atmosphere, right? So we're just going to be taking this moisture and we're able to lift it up and squeeze it out. So I do expect improving rain chances tomorrow for Jamaica, portions of the Caribbean coastline, including Nicaragua, Honduras, the Cayman Islands, and eventually into Quintana Roo and Cuba as well. So this does progress. It's not going to be sitting in one area for more than a couple of days, and it'll be streaming up mainly to the north, and then it gets pulled up to the north and to the east. So this is the area here, including the Dominican Republic and Haiti, that I expect to have some of the best rain chances. Look, Puerto Rico and portions of the Leeward Islands will have some pretty good rain chances as well, but the amount of rain and the amount of moisture available will be more prominent off towards the west. So for my friends in Jamaica, let's break it down. We're going to take it day by day. We'll start off with our Christmas Eve tomorrow. Scattered rain will begin to develop late morning into the afternoon. Look, I don't think it's a washout by any means. Still some dry hours and dry locations, but if you have Christmas Eve plans, just keep that in mind. For Tuesday, it's going to be somewhat wet, and then on Christmas Day itself, scattered showers will continue. Light to moderate rain for the most part, right? You can see a tropical downpour here or there. Then as we get into Thursday, that moisture is lifting to the north and rain chances will drop a bit while they'll go up for portions of Cuba and the Bahamas. We'll go back out to a little bit broader perspective here. Look at Central America. Again, rain still prominent. Panama, Costa Rica, rain chances improving. Nicaragua, Honduras, portions of Guatemala and Belize, and then riding up into Quintana Roo, including Cancun, Cozumel, and in Tulum. For the Cayman Islands, rain chances will be highest, generally speaking, tomorrow, Christmas Eve, and on Christmas Day, with it just remaining a little bit cloudy on our Thursday. But again, you know, we'll have scattered decent downpours that will be more prominent for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then drying out a bit as we go through our Thursday, as the moisture continues to stream into Cuba, the Straits of Florida, and then back into the Bahamas. So looking at the forecast for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in the Bahamas, this is what it looks like here. We'll start off with the northwest side of the Bahamas. Not expecting there to be a big rain chance Christmas Eve, Christmas Day for Walker's Key, for Grand Bahama, Abacos, Bimini, St. Andrew, the Andros Islands there, on over towards Nassau, New Providence, Eleuthera. Everything's looking pretty good, right? Few showers are possible Christmas Day, but very widely scattered, and then maybe slightly higher on Thursday the 26th. A little bit more moisture coming back into play here. It's going to be scattered in nature overall, though. There's no huge chance for rain, which is great news if you want to be outside and enjoy Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Slightly higher chance Southeast Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, certainly higher chances back down towards Cuba. All right. And again, this moisture will stream back into portions of Quintana Roo over the next couple of days as well. Now for the Dominican Republic and Haiti, look, we're going to stay relatively wet here, especially on the northern side of the island, still getting the windward nature of the conditions here, and that's going to spell better rain chances for places like Puerto Plata, on over towards the Samana Peninsula and Punta Cana, compared to areas like Santo Domingo and towards Lakay. But the bottom line is we stay with a healthy 50 to 60% chance each and every day, and then the rain chances for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands will stay high as well, but there's not as much moisture overall. So you're looking at spottier showers Christmas Eve and on Christmas Day. So if you have outdoor plans, festivities, parades, whatever you might be taking part in when your local culture. Relatively speaking here, the weather is going to cooperate. I can't tell you it's going to be completely dry, but it's looking pretty good. It's the same situation here for the Lesser Antilles in general. Look, surf conditions will be up. Same thing for sea conditions, but just out and about, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, we're looking pretty good. Anguilla, St. Bart, St. Martin, Barbuda, Antigua, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, Montserrat, Guadalupe, Dominica. That's about the highest chance for rain. Slightly less moisture content in the atmosphere, Dominica South. So I'm talking about isolated rain. Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname and Guyana, Nueva Esparta, and the ABC Islands. About a 20 to a 30% chance of rain in these areas over the next 3 days. So again, for the Bahamas, right? Maybe a little bit better chance Thursday, behind Christmas Day for the Northwest Bahamas, otherwise isolated for the island chain through at least Christmas evening. Turks and Caicos building rain chances up to a 40% chance on Friday. Pretty darn good rain chances for Cuba. Christmas Day itself, it's a 60% chance. Cayman Islands, 50% chance tomorrow, 40 on Christmas Day, back down to a 20 with some cloudy skies on Thursday. Isolated to scattered showers and storms for Belize City. Better rain chance moves in for Cancun and Cozumel Christmas Day, and again on Thursday. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day in Jamaica, 40% chance for showers and maybe a few rumbles of thunder. Again, can't rule out a little bit of lightning. Can't rule out some locally heavy downpours in a few choice locations. 30% chance on Thursday. There's your 60% chance each and every day for the Dominican Republic and Haiti. 50 Christmas Eve, Christmas Day for Puerto Rico. Again, should be fast moving showers. I hope it's not a lot of rain in any one location, but the chance for rain is decently high and even higher on Thursday. Same thing for the U.S. and British Virgin Islands as well. Bermuda is relatively dry with some wind. Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, 40% chance for rain and a few storms both on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, up to a 60 on Thursday. You're looking at a widespread 40% chance for rain for places like Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadalupe, and Dominica for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then elevated slightly in a couple of spots on Thursday. More isolated in nature again farther south, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, where it's about a 30 to at best 40% chance Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Barbados, it's isolated in nature, but again, watch out for some swells and some higher sea conditions. Same thing for Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, Suriname and Guyana. Nothing very concentrated, but again, not completely dry either. We will get a little bit drier, more dry hours and locations for Nueva Esparta and the ABC Islands. Once again, watch out for the sea conditions to be elevated in the Western Atlantic. So again, I would be very cautious for the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos to get out in the exposed waters of the Atlantic. For the northern sides of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, Lesser Antilles, those are the areas that will have the highest sea conditions as well. And some of this will translate into the Caribbean, although the Caribbean in general is looking pretty good for mariners. In the Lesser Antilles, again, the easterlies will continue. So now we're going to get into kind of how this area is going to evolve in a little bit of a longer term. So I'm just going to take this out and expand this just the next couple of days. Again, look, this time of the year, we're not truly concerned about anything spinning up, becoming truly tropical in nature, right? We're kind of getting beyond that point. But that still doesn't mean that this is not going to bring a good amount of rain, storms, and wind, and just a lot of unsettled weather, because the amount of tropical moisture still available here is rich. It's abundant. There's a lot of lift in the atmosphere as well. So just like we're seeing for today, I do expect there to be a heck of a lot of rain being produced here in the Eastern Pacific, and you can clearly see that that doesn't move towards the end of the month, continuing to overflow into the Southwest Caribbean and then spreading up towards the west. So the Western Caribbean in general is going to be more active. Some of that will sneak into the central sides of the Caribbean. Some of this coming off of the U.S. East Coast in the form of our cold fronts will interact with the easterlies and produce more rain. But, you know, again, an abundant amount of moisture continuing to develop here. Now, look, the European model is still the more aggressive model with any surface-based area of low pressure. You can clearly see that the European ensemble does produce a broad area of spin in the Southwest Caribbean. Again, I'm not concerned about this becoming anything truly tropical in nature. but that creates more lift, it creates more widespread showers and storms and more wind. Just an active pattern here as we head towards the beginning of the new year in the central and the western Caribbean based on what we're seeing from the European model. Now, the other interesting thing is that the European model does say, hey, look, there's a slight chance of a tropical depression, but I'm showing you this graphic more than anything to highlight the fact that this is the area that will continue to spin and you continue to provide the moisture-laden air that gets into our fronts and our troughs that are stalling out in the Caribbean this time of the year that provide the lift in the atmosphere and the combination of the two providing the unsettled weather. But you can clearly see that where that moisture is bubbling up, the European model continues to see that spin. Now, rainfall totals, again, could start to get elevated if they haven't already. In some areas they have, for Costa Rica and Panama, then right up the Caribbean coastline, into portions of Quintana Roo, portions of the Cayman Islands could get very wet as well over the next 7 days, close to Jamaica, and again, that moisture bends back north and east through the Florida Straits into portions of the Bahamas. Notice again on the European model, the northern side of Cuba, northeast side of Cuba, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, all with higher rain totals compared to the inland and southern sides of the islands, and then just passing showers over most of the Lesser Antilles. That's what it looks like on the European model. This is what it looks like on the GFS model. About the same, right? These guys are in pretty good agreement here. Again, you can just follow this moisture developing. And by the way, again, you get into the Pacific side of this, the Pacific coastline of Central America here. And again, you're looking at in just the next 5 days, some areas trying to produce 10 inches of rain or 250 millimeters. It shouldn't be that high in the Caribbean, right? But you can clearly see, again, just following this, and hopefully a lot of this falls offshore. But if you live right along the Caribbean coast or in the Bay Islands, Roatan, Guanaja, Utila, Belize City, and Cancun and Cozumel, then over towards the Cayman Islands again here, Grand Cayman, about 2 inches of rain in the next 5 days, Little Cayman about the same. Jamaica will again favor the northern sides of the islands, but you know, everyone trying to get on at least a little bit of rain here. Kingston, an inch of rain towards Port Antonio, an inch and a half. Montego Bay, Lucy, Negril, an inch and a half as well. There's your higher rain totals on the eastern sides of Cuba, up to 5 inches. There's your higher rainfall totals here towards the northeastern coastline of the Dominican Republic, the Samana Peninsula, Puerto Plata, 2 to 3 inches of rain, including Punta Cana. You get drier as you get through the Bahamas, right? And then it's just scattered in nature anywhere east of there, right? So again, could we see a few inches of rain? Vieques, Culebra, Fajardo, absolutely. And St. Thomas and St. Croix and St. John, maybe a ½ inch to an inch of rain at best. And I would expect the eastern sides of our Lesser Antilles to get a little bit more rain compared to the western sides. But you can clearly see again that the GFS just streams up this moisture like the European does, and then actually cuts it off from the Bahamas. But central western sides of the Caribbean, that's your just wet, active weather over the next 5 to 7 days. Friends, we appreciate you guys. You want to follow us across social media, you can absolutely do that. Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook. You want to send me a picture or video, it's myMediaMundo@gmail.com. Of course, while you're down there, you can want to ask a specific question about the forecast. Feel free to do so, and thank you for liking and subscribing. Okay, from my family to yours, I wish you an absolutely very Merry Christmas. I'll be back shortly after Christmas with the latest video. So again, thank you for tuning in. You guys have a great, safe, and happy rest of your holidays, and I'll be back soon with the latest right here at Meteo Mundo.